Okay, listen. I'm going to tell you about this one cryptocurrency that's literally at a crossroads right now. It's called XRP, and it's the native token of a company called Ripple. So picture this. When you send money from the US to India, it usually takes several days, and you lose a ton of money in fees. That's the problem Ripple is trying to solve. They want to make international money transfers super fast and super cheap. And XRP? It's like the currency that makes the whole thing work. Right now, in January 2026, people are arguing, will XRP be worth $4 to $5 or will it crash back down? This is actually really important because if you're thinking about investing in crypto, you need to understand, is this a good bet or not? Here's what happened. Last July, XRP hit a high of about $3.50. Then it crashed, fell almost in half to around $1.50 in December, and now, just recently in January, it bounced back up to $2.50. So you can see, it's crazy volatile. And in this video, I'm going to break down both sides. Why do some people think XRP will keep going up? And why do other people think it's going to crash? By the end, you'll be able to make your own decision about whether to invest. Okay. Let's start from the beginning. What even is XRP? Imagine this. Banks use a system called SWIFT. It's basically like the international network connecting all the banks in the world. Through SWIFT, you can send money from one bank to another. But here's the problem. It's slow. Really slow. Sometimes it takes a full week for your money to arrive. So Ripple, the company that created XRP, they said, hey, we can do this way faster and way cheaper. They built their own network called RippleNet, and XRP is the cryptocurrency that runs inside that network. How does it work? Let's say a Japanese bank wants to send money to an Indian bank. There's no direct connection between them, right? That's where XRP comes in. The Japanese bank converts yen to XRP. XRP flies across the network at the speed of light. Then it gets converted back to rupees. Boom! Money arrives in seconds, not days. Sounds pretty cool, right? And get this, over 500 banks have already joined this network. That's a lot. But here's the problem, and this is the critical thing. Banks don't actually have to use XRP. They can use the Ripple network without XRP. They can just transfer dollars to euros through the network. And suddenly, XRP seems unnecessary? So that's the big question. Do we actually need XRP, or is it just another speculative crypto? Okay, here's the second important thing. Back in 2023, there was a court case. The SEC, America's financial regulator, sued Ripple. They said, hey, XRP is a security. You can't just sell it to regular people. Ripple won. The court said, no, XRP is not a security. This was huge, because now people aren't scared that XRP will suddenly get banned. And since that court win, people started investing more confidently. Money started flowing in. In just the last 50 days, $1 billion flowed into XRP. $1 billion. That's serious money. Institutional investors, the people who manage money for big funds, they started believing in XRP. That's why the price went up. In December, it was down to 150. Now it's at 250. That's a solid jump in just 1 month. But the question remains, is this going to keep going up? Or is this just temporary hype? Alright, so why do some people think XRP is going to double or triple? The first reason, and this is the big one, is digital currencies from countries. Think about it. Every country in the world is thinking, hey, should we create our own digital currency? Like, a digital dollar. Not physical money, but money that exists on the internet. China is already doing it. Europe is thinking about it. The US is thinking about it too. This is called a CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency. Now here's the key part. All these digital currencies from different countries, they're going to need to talk to each other, right? They need some way to connect. And a lot of people think Ripple could be that connection. Which means every single transaction between countries using their digital currencies would go through XRP. And that means huge demand for XRP. If that happens, XRP is definitely going up in price, maybe to $4 or $5. And this isn't crazy talk. XRP already hit $3.50 in July 2025. So we know it's possible. The second reason is more and more banks are joining up. 500 banks already. And every new bank that joins, they're going to want XRP to make everything work better. And look, $1 billion just flowed in over the last 2 months. That doesn't happen by accident. That means serious investors are seeing Ripple grow. The third reason is just basic hype and speculation. Here's how it works in crypto. When people see something going up, they want to buy it. Oh, XRP is going up, I want in! So everyone starts buying, and the price goes up even more. This is called FOMO, fear of missing out. In July 2025, that's exactly what happened. XRP was $1.50. Then, in just 1 month, it shot up to $3.50. That's a 90% jump. People wanted to make money. And it can happen again. The fourth reason is Bitcoin. When Bitcoin goes up, everything else goes up. That's just how it works. Bitcoin is the king. Everything else follows. If Bitcoin hits $100,000 or $150,000 this year, which is possible, then XRP goes up with it. It might even go up faster than Bitcoin. That happens a lot. And the fifth reason is technical recovery. XRP crashed to $1.50 in December. That's the bottom. When something crashes that hard, it usually bounces back up. We're seeing that bounce right now. People are saying, wow, XRP was cheap, now it's going up, maybe it keeps going up. So they buy, and the price goes up more. So if all these things happen at the same time, if countries adopt CBDC, if banks use Ripple more, if people want to make money, if Bitcoin keeps going up, and if this bounce continues, then XRP could definitely hit $4 or $5. That would be 70, maybe 140% profit from where it is now. Not bad, right? But wait, we need to look at the other side too. Why might this not work? First reason, for 10 years now, 500 banks joined Ripple, but they're not actually using XRP much. They're using the network, but not the token. You get the difference? It's like opening a restaurant. You say, come eat at my restaurant. People come, but they don't eat your food. They bring their own food and eat that. Sure, they're in your restaurant, but they don't need your food. That's XRP. Banks are there, but they're using something else. Why? Because they don't need XRP. They can just transfer regular money to each other. SWIFT works. Or they can use stablecoins. These are cryptocurrencies connected to the dollar. So here's the problem. If banks can get by without XRP, why do they need it? If Ripple becomes super successful but without XRP, the token doesn't go up in price. It might even go down. Second reason, there's a problem with the company Ripple itself. Ripple owns a huge amount of XRP, billions of tokens, and the company can sell these tokens to make money. When a company sells, that pushes the price down. Plus, the company might not care about XRP price. They want their Ripple network to be popular. They don't really care if XRP is expensive or cheap, because they make money from the Ripple network, not from XRP price. So there's a mismatch. What's good for Ripple the company is different from what's good for XRP token holders. Third reason, what if countries just create their own way to connect CBDCs? Imagine, Europe creates its digital euro, America creates its digital dollar, and they say, we'll connect these ourselves, we don't need Ripple. Then Ripple doesn't matter for CBDC at all. This could totally happen. Central banks, that's the government. They don't want some private company like Ripple managing their system. They want to do it themselves. Fourth reason, there's competition. There are other cryptocurrencies trying to solve the same problem. There's Stellar, kind of like XRP but more decentralized. There's USDC and USDT. These are stablecoins already solving the problem. There are regular companies like Wise that already do fast money transfers, and they're super popular. So XRP might just lose. It might not be the best solution. The competition is huge. Fifth reason, look at what happened in 2025. In July, XRP went up to $3.50. Then it crashed 50%. 50%! That's something. It tells us that people got too excited. They wanted to make money. They bought. Then they got scared and sold. The price crashed. And this could happen again. People buy, get scared, sell, and the price drops to $1.50. Sixth reason, is XRP just overpriced right now? Right now, XRP has a market value of $130 billion. That's huge. That's like MasterCard. But MasterCard actually handles billions of transactions every single day all over the world. XRP is still dreaming about that. Maybe XRP is just too expensive. Maybe the price should be lower. So if all these things happen, if banks don't use XRP, if competition wins, if CBDCs happen without Ripple, if people get scared and sell, then XRP could crash back to $1.50 or $2. That would be a 15 to 30% loss from now. Not massive, but annoying. Okay, so let's look at the numbers. Let's look at what's actually happening on the charts. When you look at how XRP trades, you see certain levels. These are prices where people either want to buy or want to sell. The floor is $1.50. That was the bottom in December. When the price drops below that, people think, okay, it's cheap, let me buy. And the price bounces back up. The ceiling is $3.50. That was the high in July. When the price gets to that level, people think, okay, it's expensive, let me sell and take my profit. And the price drops. Right now, XRP trades somewhere in between, around 2.5. That's neutral territory. If XRP breaks above 3.5, that's a huge bullish signal. That means people really want to buy, and the price could go to $4, maybe $5. If XRP drops below $1.50, that's a huge bearish signal. That means people really want to sell, and the price could drop even lower. That's basically how the technical levels work. Now let's talk about the events that could change everything. What events could send the price up? First, some huge bank says, okay, we're using XRP in our transactions. Like, imagine JP Morgan. JP Morgan is one of the biggest banks in the world. If JP Morgan says, we're using XRP, everyone freaks out. The price could triple instantly. Second, some central bank says, we're using Ripple for our CBDC. That would be amazing. Third, Bitcoin goes to 100 or 150,000. When Bitcoin goes up, everything goes up. Fourth, the government or SEC says, XRP is good, we approve. That sends a signal that it's safe to invest. What could send the price down? First, some major Ripple partner says, we're canceling, this isn't working for us. That would be terrible, the price crashes. Second, some central bank releases a CBDC without Ripple. We did it ourselves, don't need you. Third, Bitcoin crashes below 20,000, then everything crashes. Fourth, the SEC says, XRP is a security, you can't trade it. That's a ban. Fifth, some insider says, look, XRP is just speculation, it's not needed. People get scared and sell. That's the kind of stuff that could move the price over the next year. So what actually probably happens? I think the middle scenario is most likely. XRP doesn't go to $5, but it doesn't crash to $1.50 either. It's somewhere in the middle, maybe $2.50 to $3. Why? Because look, $1 billion just flowed in. That's serious money. Not a joke. That means experienced people believe XRP is going up. They wouldn't put $1 billion in for nothing. But at the same time, we know banks aren't using XRP very much. That's a fact. 10 years, only 500 banks, and they're not using it much. So growth is probably slow, not explosive. By the end of 2026, I think XRP will be around $2.50 to $3. That's more realistic. But of course, it could go either way. If several positive things happen at once, it could be $5. If negative things happen, it could be $1.50. The key is to watch for news. Watch for CBDC announcements. Watch for new banks. Watch for Bitcoin. That's what matters. So if you're a conservative investor, don't invest money you need tomorrow. Only invest money you can afford to lose. Crypto is risky. XRP could go up or down. If you believe in digital currencies and international banking, invest a little bit regularly. Every month, put in a small amount. This is called dollar cost averaging. It's less risky. And set a stop loss. This means if the price drops to $1.50, you sell and lose a little, but you don't lose everything. It's like insurance. If you're an aggressive investor, then you're thinking, I can make serious money. And that's true. If XRP goes to 5, you make 140%. That's huge. But if it drops, you lose maybe 20%. That's small. So the risk-reward is pretty good. If you really believe in CBDC and Ripple, go for it. But don't bet your whole paycheck. If you're a trader, then you're buying on dips and selling on peaks. You see the price going up, you buy more. You see it falling, you sell. That's your game. But watch Bitcoin. When Bitcoin falls, XRP falls. That's the main thing. Okay, let me wrap this up. XRP is trading around $2.50 right now. This is after bouncing back from $1.50 in December. People are arguing, is it going to 3, 4, 5? Or is it going to crash? Why it could go up? CBDC, more banks, people want to make money, Bitcoin is going up. Why it could go down? XRP isn't really needed, there's competition, people get scared. Most likely, somewhere in the middle, around $2.50 to $3 by year end. But who knows? Could be 5, could be $1.50. It all depends on what happens. Most important, only invest money you can afford to lose. Watch the news. Don't believe everything you hear. Make your own decisions. And remember, crypto isn't boring. It can be fun, exciting, and dangerous. That's the crypto life. Thanks for watching.